lists of positive words, lists of negative words that relate to our domain. So that's basically the problem. They don't believe, and they show somewhat, that these dictionaries developed previously, they don't translate well into the realm of business, okay? Can they develop better dictionaries? All right. So here's just an example. So the dictionary they use is one that we saw in the previous paper, is called General Inquirer. So I mean that's a set of, that has a bunch of different dictionaries, and they use the positive and negative word lists from General Inquirer. So it's the reason they use this dictionary is because it's public domain and they can publish the words without hurting anyone's feelings. So here are some negative words in that dictionary: cost, vice, cancer, liability, and foreign, which makes me wonder why. Why is that a negative word? I don't know. Everyone, 90% of the people in here are offended. Okay. So would these be negative words in a 10K? What do you think? Cost. Hmm? It's a part of business. Everyone has costs. Every business has costs. Yeah. What about vice? I like this one. Vice. Is that in? Yeah, vice president. That's right. That's where you see the word vice is part of a title. It's not a negative word. Now, clearly, this is a negative word. You know, when businesses talk about these cancers that are eating away at their profitability. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of an industry-specific term, and it's not negative. It's just descriptive. I mean, it's a part of their business is conquering cancer. All right. Liability. This is from the title of the paper. That's right. Everyone's got liabilities. Okay. And foreign. Yeah, foreign would be negative. Foreign currency. Okay. So here are some words that are not in this Harvard General Inquirer. Okay. And these are clearly negative in a 10K. So if someone's committed a felony, if there's litigation, that can be negative. Yeah.
Why is unanticipated negative?
Oh, well, you know, if something. So yeah, you know, they made a judgment call. They said usually when they saw the word unanticipated, it was for a negative reason.
Unanticipated loss, unanticipated expense, or unanticipated gain.
Okay. So we haven't solved that problem yet, right?
Context is a big problem.
But no, not in this paper either. You're not going to solve that problem. But they're saying, looking at these words individually, are they more often negative or positive in the 10K? And it's not the MD&A, okay? We're not doing just the MD&A like the last paper. They look at the whole 10K. Minus tables and figures. Okay. And that's one of the questions of this paper. Does analyzing just the MD&A give you more predictive power of future earnings than analyzing the whole 10K? I mean, is MD&A special because it's set apart for specific reasons? And should we just be analyzing it? Or should we just look at all the words in the 10K? And they want to figure out, I don't know if this is a problem, it's a question, does negative tone predict negative excess returns? Okay, and they focus mostly on negative tone. They think it's the more interesting dictionary, and then they sort of expand to positivity and uncertainty and litigation, and so on. Okay, so according to the paper, here are the major contributions. They found that 3/4 of the negative words of negative word counting according to the Harvard Dictionary word list, let's see, are not negative in a financial context. Okay. They created a dictionary specific to business reporting. They found that examining the tone of just the MD&A is inferior. You get worse results than examining the tone for the entire 10K. There's more information in the entire 10K. There is a relationship between excess returns and the negative financial dictionary terms, but not between excess returns and the Harvard negative dictionary. However, regressions showed mixed results for using Harvard and financial negative dictionaries. When terms are weighted, the two dictionaries perform equally well. When they are not weighted, the financial dictionary that they create in this paper is superior. So what does that mean? Well, I'll talk about weighting, which is a really important technique that a lot of authors use in their papers. Like almost everyone uses some sort of weighting nowadays in their analyses. Okay, well, let's go on. So essentially, their first problem is they want to create this new dictionary for positive and negative words in the 10K because they don't like the ones that exist. So what they did is they downloaded all the 10Ks, they extracted the MD&As for the separate analysis to compare 10K to MD&A, removed all tables and figures. They created dictionaries and they incorporated weighting. All right. Okay. So they had to create these new dictionaries. Dictionaries are word lists for a specific theme. So here are the dictionaries that they created: negativity, positivity, uncertainty, litigation, strong modal, and weak modal. And I have example words for all of those. Okay. So what they did to create this dictionary is they extracted all the words from a 10K, from all the 10Ks in this time frame. And they examined all the words that occurred in at least 5% of the documents. That's a really nice technique to get rid of irrelevant words. What are some words that would occur in less than 5% of the documents? Like names of people, names of companies. I don't know, they're odd words that no one else says. I don't know. So they only looked at words that people use in general. And they examined these words, and they don't say how many there were, but I'm guessing, I have no idea. 20,000, 15,000, I don't know. 100,000, I don't know. So they found 2,337 that they classified as negative, and 353 they classify as positive. They discuss how finding positive words was trickier because they could be so easily negated, or sometimes they were squishier somehow, the negative words. He said, going through the process, we realized this, and so we only picked like the most positive words. So the positive words that, like, no matter what, they're always positive, like attain, efficient, profitable. I guess those are easily negated too. But okay, well, they found 353, 285 uncertainty words, 731 litigation words, 19 strong modal words, and 27 weak modal words. All right. So that's how he created his dictionary. And it was basically a manual process, and based on their own experience and intuition. And I don't know how deep they dug into individual words to examine the context to see whether they were positive or negative. I do know after this paper they updated the word lists based on feedback from others, scholars. So whatever is up on the internet right now is the most recent version. Yeah. Just I think I know exactly what it is, but can you tell me what page you're looking at just so I can make sure? Yeah, yeah. So I think all he's saying is he looked at the words out of context from each other, okay? So he looked at all the words individually and counted how many times they appeared and had a bag of words. Had all the words but no phrases. I mean, just kind of similar to the last paper where words were independent of each other, same as this paper. Yeah. So I'm guessing when he looked at the terms, he didn't necessarily need to ever look at them in their context. He could just get a gut feeling whether that was positive or negative. I don't know.
One thing I can understand, the way, let's say, is just see the list state. So they consider it's a negative word, right?
Right.
How that could be different from, other dictionaries.
How that could be determined from other dictionaries?
Yeah, it's gonna be same thing. Like when you see the list statement, if you consider as negative word, it could include the same thing in other dictionaries, right?
Which other dictionaries?
Like other, the Harvard.
Well, what he's saying is.
My question is how they decide that is negative. How that is different from other dictionary decide if that is negative or not. It's just I don't find it.
Well, do you agree or it's negative or not for a 10K?
It could be.
I mean,
It could be, but
well, they're saying it's probably usually negative. That's what they're saying. And these other dictionaries developed by Harvard or Pennebaker, the other ones, were developed for a different purpose, right? They were developed.
So you are saying that dictionary is developed based on domain knowledge, which is the accounting knowledge.
Yep, this is one in this paper. Yeah, that's right. The other ones were just general purpose, like mostly how do I feel, psychological reasons. We don't. This is just what do we see in the 10K? What's a positive? What's a negative word? How many what? I don't know. I mean, there's two authors, but I don't know if it says. There's not much in the appendix, I don't think. It's nothing about the. I don't know if one of you knows from the paper if they did inter-rater reliability, like we talked about before.
I mean, they don't tell us how it's done, so is it just quantitative? There's only one R they attribute, so
I don't know.
it's must be a lot of words, right?
Yeah, well, they've got a lot of mileage out of it. But yeah, it would be a lot of words. Tens of thousands of words they had to look through. At least. I don't know how many different words there are. It's in the Carnegie Mellon English language dictionary that I use to count syllables, because they have every word separated for syllables. There's like 120,000 words. So that might be the number of words there are, or probably fewer words in all of the 10Ks. Especially when you sort of Winsorize it, like everything greater than 5%. I mean, everyone that's been in at least 5% of the documents. I don't know how many words there were. They don't say. We should invite them here. Ask them. Yeah.
Is it comfortable that the negative word is much more bigger than the positive one? What do we do constant errors?
where it causes an imbalance. A what? Oh, bias. Yeah. That's a good question. So, because there are so many different, more positive words that all the, well, that might be solved by the weighting, the term weighting. Oh man, my computer's seriously about to die. Do you have a power cord upstairs? Onto here. Yeah, the reason I can do that. I should do that. I'll just save it onto here. All right. Well, yeah, I can do this, no problem. All right. Browse. You have Lenovo? Oh, okay. Well, there we go. This is what I need. I think they're all compatible with each other, right? It looks the same. 65 watts, 20 volts. Yeah. They're both 20 volt. Okay, thanks. You win. You win the chocolate factory. All right. Oh, look at that. That's nice. All right. So there's no outlet here. Just have to put it in. Oh, right there. It's the closest one. All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Oh, well, I shouldn't have turned it off. Okay, well, I can still talk. Okay, so we went back to this slide. We were talking about how they selected the words, and it's unclear from the paper. How they classified them. But I saw here like a real research opportunity for you guys, if you're interested. They created 6 dictionaries that are widely used, I'd say, in finance and accounting. But when you look at these other sets of dictionaries, like General Inquirer, there's like 50. Luke has like 70. Different word lists about different topics and ideas, right? So can you guys... Yeah. Did someone say something? No. Okay, come on. Did it stop? Did it stop? Oh, it's different. Good? Okay. So here are some other dictionaries in General Inquirer. Okay? And they're based on motivations. And they're word lists related to these different motivations. Needs, goals, try, persistence, completion, fail. I mean, does it seem like some of these could be relevant? Or if they were designed for 10Ks? Or is this not a... At any rate, anyone can create dictionaries. And if you think of a category where you need a word list, you can go through a similar exercise they went through and be cited so many times. You'll have to get tenure. Okay. So they also said they think some words are more important than others in a document. So, for example, so what they did is they took their new dictionaries and they would count how many times each positive or negative word showed up in the 10K. Then they'd weight these words based on importance. Okay, they'd give each word a weighting within the document. And this is how they did it. And I'll explain this. So this is very common technique in these types of papers. And this is called weighting through TF-IDF, term frequency time, and basically it's term frequency multiplied by inverse document frequency. So this is Wij is the weight of the term I in document J, okay? And then TFIJ, so this first half of the term, is the count of term I in document J. Okay. And then you have the word count of document J as the denominator. And then you multiply that term by the total number of documents in your corpus divided by the total number of documents containing term I. And this is how you give a weight to a word. So I have an example in the next slide. Yeah. Well, they didn't make it up or anything. So this is a commonly used formula to weight words. Yeah, I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to show you an example right here. Very simple example. But Yehuda? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just saying ignore the log transformation right now. Okay, so here's one document, and it's a short document. I made this up. The company suffered an aggravating loss. All right. Document number 2. The company suffered a loss. Yeah, very similar. Okay, so here's the exercise for you guys. What is the weight of loss and aggravating in document 2? Okay, well, so don't do the log. Don't worry about no, don't add the 1 either. So this is the frequency of a term, like loss, in document 2. So what's the frequency? I guess frequency is 1, but I think it means like ratio. I mean well, it is 1. No, you're right. It's 1. It is 1. So and then in the ratio, it's the number of words in the document, right? So okay, so let's go back. So we're doing loss in document 2. So yeah, it's 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. AJ is the number of words in the document. So 1 over 5. It's 20.2 multiplied by n, which is the total number of documents, and the total number of documents in which that word occurs. So it's 2. So multiplied by 1. And you get 0.2. So that seems easy. Now aggravating is different. Oh, it's not in document 2. Yeah, let's go with document 1. Okay, I just wrote this before class. So in document 1, here's the weighting. So even though it's one of 6 words, it's weighted more heavily because it's more unique. Okay? So here's the intuition. So they use this in web page search algorithms. Okay. So if you're trying to find a page about what? Paul, can you give me an example? Sports, right? Rutgers, let's say. What? Deflategate? Oh, let's say Rutgers. Some students don't watch football or ESPN. Okay, Rutgers. Let's just say. Yeah. Let's just say the word Rutgers. Okay, Rutgers. Okay. If you search for Rutgers, the number 1 page would be, the number 1 result would be probably Rutgers.edu, right? Now it's a very complex algorithm that brings you that search result. But part of it is probably, Google doesn't tell us. It probably has to do with this TF-IDF number. So in the Rutgers website, it probably uses the word Rutgers a ton of times. So that would make this ratio relatively large compared to other websites. So Rutgers must have a large weighting for that term. And for that website, the term Rutgers has a large weight, which would bring it to the top of the search results. Now, the inverse document frequency, this second term, is saying, well, if this could become even more important if in all of the websites, and there are very few websites that use the term Rutgers, that's signaling that websites that have the word Rutgers in them must be about Rutgers, because not many websites use that word. But if every website uses the word Rutgers, well, then you'll depend solely on this term anyway. But does that make sense? Okay, good. So this is a really big contribution of the paper for them to use this term weighting. So quickly, this time, we'll get into the results. They compare, I have to reread this, but they compare their dictionary, the dark black line, to the Harvard dictionary, this light dotted line. And what they're showing is they're looking at the returns, the stock returns, I believe, like within 4 days of the filing, okay? And they divide the results, they divide the companies in quintiles, like the top 20% performers to the bottom 20% performers. And they say companies with very high negativity have negative returns in that time period. And companies with 10Ks with very low negativity have better returns in that time frame. And this black line just follows that perfectly. It just fits the story really well. But this one, this Harvard dictionary, is kind of all over the place. Makes a W. So it's not consistent. Okay, and I'm just listing the results here. I don't spend as much time on this paper. So the tone in the MDNA is inferior to the examination of tone for the entire 10K. So they actually get better results examining the tone of the entire 10K. This refers to the chart I just showed you. And this I already talked about. What they show is when you put this into a regression, the tone as calculated by the Harvard dictionaries versus their dictionary, when you use the unweighted terms, just basically the frequency that the terms appear, then the new financial dictionary performs very well compared to the Harvard dictionary in explaining whatever dependent variable it is. But when they use the weighted terms for both dictionaries, when they weight them using the TF-IDF, then the results are very comparable. They're equal to each other. So what the weighting seems to do is strip out all or give very low weightings to the irrelevant words in the Harvard dictionary. Yeah.
The way the weighting function seems to give, it gives a strong weight to something that appears many times in the document. So for searching and like for nouns, that would seem to make a lot of sense to find replicas in the site a lot. Search replicas with one thing on that site.
Mm.
Finding a word that's constantly repeated, I think the word the, including the word the, should not have a high weight. Including all the, it's going to get a high weight in the document. Something that's repeated numerous times in the document may not actually be that.
Yeah, the inverse document frequency will decrease the weight of the word the, since every document has the word the. Of course, they would never analyze it in this. It's a stop word, so and it's not in the dictionary lists. That's how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to say words like the aren't that important.
What if you have like an industry-specific word, a very small industry? It's going to get a very high weight because they use something as generic as electricity for some electric utility. They're going to use the word electricity a lot for, I don't know, whatever they.
Right. So it'll get a high weight for that document, right?
But
And that's exactly what.
documents, how many electric utilities you can find in there, how many firms they're looking at to find power. So it's going to get the high weight for both of them. But yet the word electricity is absolutely meaningless.
It's not meaningless when you're identifying a document where electricity is really important.
But positive or negative, it has no meaning.
Well, it's not in the positive negative word list. See, this word list has nothing to do with random words like you're bringing up. Those aren't on the list. They're not even evaluated. Those are just a new category of words, utility words, words for utility industry that you can work on.